So yeah, as I was saying, Hylo was a platform that was built by friends of mine over the last like 5-6 years as kind of a alternative to a Facebook group or Mighty Networks or another one of these platforms, although I think they started before Mighty, that is more social impact driven and just designed to enable better collaboration and cooperation within communities and organizations, but also across communities and organizations and networks of organizations. And they, got it to a certain point of, pretty good, solid foundation of functionality, but needed to raise more money and couldn't quite get it. They had maybe hundreds of groups using it at one point, but kind of stalled. And so eventually, through a really cool partnership, they sold it to an organization that is using some of the code, but also gifted it to me, to my group, which is called the Terran Collective. I can share the link to our collective as well. And the sort of mission of our collective is to amplify cooperation among people and groups working to kind of regenerate our planet and our communities. And so part of that is technology. And so this platform, Hylo, is kind of this perfect piece of what we want to be working on to help build more cooperation, help humans figure out how to collaborate and cooperate better. And so we've been working on it, kind of taken over the platform since March. And we are doing it as a nonprofit. It's open source. We are, really wanting to gift it to the world. It was gifted to us. There's no longer any investor pressure or, we need money to support the development efforts. But other than that, we are gifting it to the world and trying to create really an ethical, values-driven platform that can get us off of Facebook, which I don't know how many of you have seen the Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma, but really the current platforms are really bad for our society for so many reasons. And the ad-driven model just trying to like steal our attention to sell us things and creating polarization and all these issues. So yeah, a big part of why we're working on Hylo is just that. It's like, how do we get people off of these abusive corporate platforms and into something that is ethically built and kind of collectively created. Eventually we want it to become a co-op that's actually collectively governed and owned. So I'm happy to give a little demo walkthrough if you want to let me share my screen, Ben. And I'll just say, where it's at right now, it's got a great set of foundational features that could replace a Facebook group or a Slack or a Mighty or something, but it's still got rough edges. It's still kind of early adopter beta phase, I would call it. And I would say we need another 6 months or so before we'll really feel ready to go tell everyone to use it. But it's getting there. I think you have to make me co-host because I don't have the screen sharing ability here. Oh, never mind. You're right. I do. My brain was not working. Okay. Here we go. So we're currently looking at a community in Hylo. This is actually an old one that was created years ago that we're kind of rebooting, called the Collaborative Technology Alliance, to try and bring together different people working on platforms like this. And also show you a part of many different communities over here, as you can see. I can go to our Terran Collective community. And so the basic interface is a lot like a Facebook group with a stream of posts of different types. And if I, let's see, click on one here, you can see the conversation, people can comment. If I go to create a post, we have these different post types, requests and offers and resources. There's also projects and events, which kind of live in a separate bucket that I'll show in a moment. And some of the unique things here are the ability to add multiple topics. So it's a little bit like, I don't know if you use Slack, but like Slack channels, but then you can have something exist in multiple different topics just to organize information and conversations. And then the other really powerful, unique thing here is that I can post it into multiple communities at the same time. And so then this conversation or resource or whatever it is, request, goes to all of these different communities. And it's a single shared conversation. So everyone who's in all of those communities can participate in the conversation, and instead of having to like copy and paste it to a bunch of different Facebook groups or platforms. This is kind of where what we're really focused on is building bridges of collaboration. You can also make it public, as Ben mentioned. There's like a fully public space where you can see anything that people have made public on the platform. You can have a time frame and a location. You can add images and attachments. Like as I mentioned, we also have projects over here, which are kind of not really very used yet. They're basically another type of post that people can join. But we plan to build out some very basic kind of project management tools into here with milestones and roles and tasks. And then we also have events, which have the ability to RSVP and invite people to them. So yeah, kind of the basics of events. We will turn this into a full calendar view soon as well. There's a member directory where you can see people's activity on the platform and their skills and interests and whatever other information they have shared. And then there's a map, which is a new feature that we just added. It's like a geographic layer where you can start to see requests and offers and events and projects and people geographically, and filter the map. And so one of the things we're going to be, that we're passionate about and want to focus on more over time, is kind of the place-based organizing, building tools for mutual aid networks with the like requests and offers, doing more sophisticated automated matching there. But having the map here is kind of the first piece of that. And then over here on the left, I also have the topics that I'm subscribed to in this community. And so I can filter by specific topics and just see the posts from there. And we also have, there's mobile apps, iOS and Android apps. There's a notification stream. And there's a chat interface, which is kind of like Facebook Messenger. It's a separate place for one-on-one or group chats. And let's see, there's search across the whole platform. And then, as I mentioned, there's, I'm part of all these different communities over here. There's also the ability to create networks of communities. So, the power here is to say that, this is a bunch of groups within a parent, and this is also used kind of for a organization that has multiple teams or groups inside of it. And so if I click on like the top level, then it shows you all the content from the groups you're inside that are within that network. And then there's the public view here, where you can just see kind of random things that people are posting and making public across all the different groups. One thing that the map allows that we want to expand on is the ability to actually find communities that have made themselves public and request to join those communities. And so we will be building out more of a like community directory functionality here that will enable you to like find organizations doing cool things in your area. This is just a test one, it looks like. This is, again, this is kind of early days, and there's probably a few dozen groups using it actively and a bunch of folks experimenting with it. So that's kind of the current functionality. I'm also a part of the Now What group over here. And we have a ton of plans for this. As I mentioned, we're raising money right now. And I'm happy to share our whole strategic plan. We have a ton of stuff that we want to add. But really, it's a big part of it, again, as you mentioned, Ben, is like, how do we create these and map and show the relationships of different organizations and communities and networks, and allow people to share resources between them and collaborate, obviously internally within groups, but also across them. That's something that we see as really needed in the world, and something that Now What is very, I would say, focus on too, in a way, with the mapping of relationships. And I think that the kind of systems mapping aspect that some apps in Kumu allow for is something we want to build into Hylo as well, which could start by just exporting data to Kumu. Mm-hmm. So I'll pause there if there's questions or comments or whatever people want to say.
Could we try putting Vesper's request up just to play with it a little bit?
Sure. I mean, ideally, Vesper you would do that yourself.
Yeah, I would be happy to. I'm very interested in this concept. Thank you for sharing it, Tibet. And I'd prefer to do that on my own.
Yeah, Ben, I don't know how much you have shared, like the invite link to this community. Yeah,
we haven't much. So Rick Feltington was, mentioned Hylo, which has been on my radar since, before you took it over.
Yeah,
I remember learning about it. I don't know, might have been 5 or 6 years ago even. And then it came up again in the context of another network I'm a part of here in New England. And then Rick mentioned it and he wanted to play. I'm like, yeah, let's try it out. And we were getting all ready to just invite everybody. Right? I mean, I can just import the whole Now What, list of registrants for the current edition, right? And do they automatically become members when I do that, or do they have to accept from an email? How does that work exactly? If I did that,
they have to accept from the email, or you can send out an invite link that people can just click on to join as well.
That's already up on the website.
Okay.
So I think some people have just wandered in there because on the homepage of Now What, I put Hylo pretty prominently up at the top of the tools we're using. And in fact, were we going to talk about Hylo becoming an officially listed partner of Now What? I don't know, forget if that was on our agenda or not. But that would be nice if you wanted.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, so it's here, I'll just share my screen quickly. This is on the home page at nowwhat2020.com. On the right here, all the a lot of the tools, actually not all of them. And I think if you click this link right here, if you're already a member, it probably takes you to the group, but if not, it'll take you to a sign up page.
Yeah, exactly.
Takes me into it already. But the thought was, that I would go to, there's the spinning here. And maybe this was part of what I wanted to ask you, that if I wanted to add members, or is it in settings? Hold on, let me get this. Invite people. Can I, is there a way for me can I just put a whole list of email addresses in here and one line?
Yeah, we should have that in the instructions there. It can be comma separated or line separated, either way.
Either way, okay.
Yeah.
I just plop that text in there. So Rick, what happened was that Rick suddenly decided he didn't have energy to do it. It's always a question with Now What, how many different tools and things we throw at folks, and I know people get overwhelmed by that, and how many different places are we going to pay attention to? So it's sort of sitting there, and a couple people did express some interest. Other people, I think, showed up, and a little bit of a conversation got started, but that's as far as we got. And maybe it's Now What pops up twice a year, so we have 2.5 weeks left to go of this edition. And we could play around with it a little bit more, but maybe some planning between this one and the next one of how we might really use it is kind of the stage that we're at this point. But I'm requests and offers are another part of Now What, that it's both a gathering and connecting space, and also a place, a gift economy. And so to the extent people do have offers and requests, those are reflected in the data that's in the Kumu map, but not in a way that's really easy to work with.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different lists of them, but having a tool that that works in that framework also would be good. And we did a gift circle process earlier this week too, and I think there's another one coming up next week that one of our members is playing around with. It's kind of a cross of Now What and another network, which is a lot of what we do too. Now What is a space where multiple networks are kind of interweaving and intersecting, which fits, I think, with Hylo, and it's in your vision there.
Absolutely, yeah. Cool. Yeah, well, definitely excited to, I've been wanting to get more involved in Now What myself in general. Every time it comes around, I'm like, oh, I want to participate more this time. And my life is very full. But I think it would be exciting to plan a little bit more in advance for the next round, how Hylo might be used. And like I said, by that time, I'll also feel more ready to tell everyone to use it, because there's still some rough edges to polish.
Yeah, I think I just in playing around with it, I can't quite remember. Some of it was just wanting like not noticing formatting features and ways to hot link things and some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe there was something else. I'm curious, people here, are you raising your hand, Suzanne? Yeah, I'd love to hear thoughts from the group.
Yeah. I was going to ask a question. So some of us, quite a few of us have used Mighty Networks. Can you give us quickly some of the main differences between Mighty Networks and Hylo?
Yeah, I would say the main difference, other than Hylo being free and open source and not for profit, that's, those are sort of like ethical or values differences, is that Mighty Networks is really designed for siloed private communities. And Hylo is designed, it can support that, but it's also designed to be, to have all of your communities and organizations in one space and be able to jump around between them and post to multiple ones at the same time, and create those like networks of communities and the kind of web of collaboration. So ultimately, it's a very different goal than Mighty in that way. And, I would say that Mighty is ahead of us in terms of like polish and features for what they currently have. They're a VC funded, they've raised $14 million or something. But we're not that far behind, and I think we will catch up in the next year or so, mostly. And we will have like I said, the ability to cross-post and move around between your different groups and networks. The mapping stuff is also something unique that we have that they don't have, the geographic mapping piece. I would say those are the main differences right now.
And so in terms of physical, as far as posting and searching for the groups and things like that, is it quite similar to Mighty Networks, or is it quite different, practically speaking?
I think it's pretty similar. There's definitely differences in the UX, and we are in the process of a semi-significant redesign of the architecture. But yeah, it's fairly similar in terms of the basic functionality. Posting and commenting and reacting to posts and member directory and messaging. Kind of like the core basic set of features is similar.
Okay, I have one more thing. Maybe you already have this, but one of the issues that I had on Mighty Networks is when you post, it tends to appear blog style, where the last post shows up first. And so I was trying to teach something that took several posts to articulate. And so I was losing my first posts, my introduction posts, because when somebody would go to it, it would be the last post that would show up. Just feedback on that. If there's some way you guys can make it easier, that would be great.
Interesting. Yeah. One way to do that on any platform would be to post the first thing as a post, and then to post the additional stuff as comments on that post. So it's like a thread of, I mean, it's not maybe not as nicely formatted, but that would be one way to have an ongoing thing. Another way would be to have links. You could say, like, you know, in your part 3, link back to part 1 and 2. So, you know, read this first. But we do also plan to, you know, one of the requests that we're working on right now is an interface. Like, we will have the kind of stream interface like you're talking about, where the new stuff is at the top. But we also plan to add more of like a forum-like interface where you can kind of browse previous discussions in a more compact way and more easily follow past conversations and find. So that's one way that we are planning to help with maybe something like that.
Yeah, well, that'd be very helpful. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Any other?
Yeah. You mentioned the social dilemma with some prompting from Alexia, who's got an engagement stream on the ethics of AI that she's hosting in this edition of Now What. We had a little watch party conversation about the social dilemma last weekend, and she's been following up on that in the weekly conversation she's hosting. I assume you're there. I know I'm talking about you. I don't see you.
Hi, I'm driving, and I thought I'd pop in. So yeah, hello.
So Tibet is the sort of lead developer for the Hylo platform, which is an open source nonprofit alternative to Facebook.
Okay.
One of the tools that we're
Awesome.
dabbling with it this edition of Now What, and might try a more robust interaction. I'd love to just play with something now, though. I'm just curious if anyone has a request or an offer, because that's another thing that really, you know, was one of the first things that struck me about the platform, is that you were specifically identifying those things as you know, their own class of post, and wanting to center them, or, you know, give them a way to be more visible. And I'm curious if anyone has one that we could put out, not only through Now What, but that we do it sort of publicly out to the other communities, maybe even tag some. Can I tag a community if I'm not a part of it yet?
No.
One of the folks at Bloom Network and NorCal, two of the ones that I just saw. But I'm not in their communities yet.
Not yet. You can't tag communities that you're not a part of yet.
And can you ask to join a community you're not a part of, or search for them? That was another thing I was getting a little confused about how to do.
Yeah, we just have started building that functionality. So right now, the only way to do that, well, first of all, the community has to make themselves public. And then the only way to do that is to find them on the map. Right now, we don't have like a directory that you can search through yet. So it's not very easy, but the functionality has been built, and it is possible to find public communities on the public map and request to join them. So most of that is built, but it's something.
Well, so if I put a request up, or we put a request up in the Now What community, and then later I become a member of Bloom and NorCal, can I then, after that, at that point, share it over to them?
Yeah, you just edit the post and you add the community to it.
Yeah. All right. So anybody have an inspiration for something to play with? Joy, you've got a request.
Well, I put it in the chat. I'm happy if you'd like a test user, definitely. And yeah, I'm just at the moment can you hear me? Because I'm holding my computer weirdly. Is it working? Yes. Yep. Yeah, because I'm actually starting to look and work out about looking for a partner for doing this Peace Valley project. And so I've got a specific request for that, around finding somebody, but it's going to have to be someone in Australia, because currently no one else can get in because of the COVID thing. Have you got some stuff happening in Australia yet? A little bit?
There is some stuff happening in Australia, actually. I'm trying to remember which communities.
I wouldn't be surprised if Bloom had folks in Australia. Are they active on Hylo?
A little bit. They're also kind of in an exploratory. They do post some stuff there, but it's not super active yet.
On the map, I'm not seeing anything.
There's I was talking to a few Australians. I'm trying to remember where they are. I don't know. I can try and track them down.
Oh, well, we could talk outside the cafe around that if you like. That would be
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. If others have got other things they want to ask.
Could be playful, just something to try.
Oh, I think I found it. It's called It Takes a Town. They're a community organization in northern NSW, Australia, whatever that means.
Northern New South Wales, that's where I am. Okay, it takes a town. Ah, I like it. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a town to raise people, maybe.
Yeah,
Love it.
I'm happy to send over some information. They're using Hylo. This woman, Gemma.
It takes a town to raise a clown. Sorry, couldn't help myself.
So if we put the request up on Hylo now, then one of us becomes a member of this other group, and you can connect us up like with email or something, right? And then we can pass the request on to them.
Yeah.
And maybe doing it in this instant is asking too much. I don't know. Is it how complicated would it be for us to write something up in a couple minutes, Joy?
For me to write something in a couple of minutes.
write
Oh
it.
gosh.
I can write it. You can dictate. I'll share my screen if you want to play along. I don't know if I'm pushing this too hard.
Well, I've got a whole thing I've written out, but I haven't edited yet. But just yeah, I suppose. Hold on, let me think about it. Look at what I've started doing. Oh dear.
So I'm here. I'm gonna do requests.
Here's the project that I was talking about. I guess the organization is
Well,
called.
what I've got written is a lot of stuff actually, but
We could link to a document later if it's ready for that, and maybe just give me 2 or 3 sentences right now and a headline.
okay. Then I don't know about a partner needed or something. I don't know. At Peace Valley, I'm looking for a project partner to share in every part of this adventure.
Project owners probably just good enough for the request, or should I put for Peace Valley Australian Bush Retreat?
If you like, yeah, that would work.
Right now, the title is limited to.
Will that be too long?
Or just leave off the Australian.
Well, I don't know. That seems important.
Yeah.
Peace Valley Bush Retreat. Can this be geographically tagged? Yes, location.
Yeah.
All right. So Karela, is that what it is? Karela, Karela, New South Wales, Australia.
Yeah. Hey, you've got some good functionality there already.
Yeah.
Look at that.
We're
You
gonna
can find Karela. Karela's a little blip in the middle of nowhere. I'm in the middle of the bush. I'm completely off grid. There's no other houses apart from the people in my community. Oh my goodness. So then I'll just give you the beginning. Do you feel called to make a difference in the world? Live simply with a super low carbon footprint.
Oh, no, I'm not that great a typist.
Make a difference in the world.
Question mark? Yep.
Yeah. Live simply with a super low carbon footprint.
Oh wait, comma. Yes.
Be part of an emerging community or eco-village. I suppose you just put eco-village. of an emerging eco-village. Co-create a space for women and children to be safe, to become themselves, and be empowered. And then I've got a whole pile more, but that's enough to start with. And then, are you female, vegetarian or vegan? Because these are the, I don't know how much you should put in, but anyway, these are what I need. I need, because this is a woman only space.
Yeah.
Female, vegetarian or vegan, non-smoker, happy to live in an alcohol substance-free environment. So those are the criteria, really.
Vegetarian, whoops, or vegan, non-smoker, who is happy to live in, what was it?
Alcohol and substance-free environment or space or something. I haven't worked on the wording of this. I've just sort of put my ideas down. So, yeah. So then, in this context, you'd need a sentence to give it. Yeah, Peace Valley is a embodied. Oh God, how would we word it? An embodied learning center. Situated in inside a national park on a special woman's place. I don't know how to word that. Vesper, you might know better if you're still there. On a special woman's place. On a special historical, indigenous woman's place, maybe, because it's, yeah. And that's why we're now a woman only space. See, sorry. I don't know. That's enough to get going, I suppose. Does that give you guys enough of an idea?
Lots of birds. Lots of birds.
Lots of birds, yes. There's 150 different varieties of birds here. That's one of the reasons. It's a remnant ecosystem with several different lots of. Hi, Suzanne. Goodbye. Sorry, didn't get to chat.
For people to.
Yeah, Peace Valley AU. Joy. You just put my name and then the piece. No, sorry. The email is without the joy at. Sorry, that's peacevalleyau@gmail.com is the email. .com.
Yeah,
with an M. Yeah. And I'm Joy. Yeah, you've got Joy up there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
We can always.
Does that make sense, guys?
I think it's good enough to start. I think maybe just the one thing I would say to tie the first sentence together. Do you feel called to make a difference with, you know, that you're seeking?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Like I say, I haven't started to work on it. I've just thrown ideas on a piece of paper so far.
So, and if you are also female vegetarian who's having then Joy
Contact.
Holy would love to speak with you. How about that?
Awesome. Sounds good. Good.
And then we can add topics to it.
Mhm.
What do you suggest, Tibet, would be good topics here?
Sorry, before you go into that, I need to leave, but I joined the meditation. Is it the same link?
Yeah, same
Okay.
link.
Okay.
Yep.
See you then.
Yep,
Thank
I'll
you,
be there
everyone.
then.
Thank you, Yvette.
See you then.
Yeah.
Ciao.
See you soon.
I see that
Bye.
Lisa in too. We're going to wrap this up in a second so we can check in with everybody who's still here. I think we lost a few. I should open the breakouts and let people have the option to move into them if they.
No, it's okay. We all love joy.
So any thoughts on?
I was going to say something like community or villaging or what eco-villages. I don't know what the word.
Yeah. Right.
Eco-village.
So it'll scan. So it says that's not a topic yet. Huh? Interesting.
Not one that's been used yet. But
Wait, what happened? Did it get added? So I would have seen it.
that was weird. Oh, well,
Create topic.
it's supposed to put a hashtag in front of it, actually. I wonder if that was a bug.
Oh, don't put a hashtag here?
Yeah, it'll do it automatically.
Ah, okay.
That's a good bug to know about.
Education.
All right. There's a subscriber to that one. What else are people likely to be looking for?
Maybe.
It might be a good one.
Sorry?
Community.
Yeah, community.
Community.
Off-grid living.
You got community, community design, community garden, just go community. All right, so we get 3, is that it?
Just 3 for now, yeah. Although we'll probably expand on that.
We have a time frame or should we just post it? Oh, I can put a picture.
True. Might have to download one from.
I thought I had you here, Joy. Already. There you are.
Perfect.
I could add a picture of the place. I think I have one.
Crazy.
I'll go back and add it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and post it. So it's public, which means
There is the crazy woman on the picture. Oh dear.
all right, there it is. And if we go to public communities and posts, we should see it there too. Yeah.
See if it appears on the map in the right place.
Oh, good question.
Oh look, there's a little yellow dot. That'll be
No.
me probably.
No, that's
Right?
Oh, there it is.
Up there?
Yeah.
Blue one. Oh, it should. Yeah, that's very nearly in the right place.
Great.
Oh yeah, it is in the right place when you get closer. Yep.
Cool.
Awesome.
Right.
What if it,
Laugh.
that would be cool.
Yeah, so
What if it works? What if I get
shoot me an email and I'll add you to the Hylo community and I'll request that we both get added to this other group. If you connect us up with them.
excellent?
Shall I stop the recording? We're still going.
Good demo.
I like that.